Storm of the season. That's Allison. It formed in the Gulf of Mexico this afternoon. Now, it formed very, very close to shore. It's not a classical tropical system in that the weather is not very symmetrical around it. All the strong winds are north and east of where the center is. Let's go and have a look at what we do have out there. First of all, we'll show you what the latest particulars are. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, Allison was centered 28.3, 94.7, and that is 80 miles south-southeast of Galveston. Top wind 60 miles an hour and moving toward the north at 13. Now you can see it's already pretty close to the coast, and that means that the center is going inland this evening, we should believe. And it's very important to realize that once the center goes inland, that this system isn't going to get any stronger. We could see a little bit of strengthening before landfall, but we don't think very much. In the meantime, tropical storm warnings are in effect from Sargent, Texas, that's west of Galveston, to Morgan City, Louisiana. That simply means that you're likely to get some winds in excess of 40 miles an hour along with heavy rain. This is what it looks like on our satellite picture, and you can see very dry air. The center right about there, and already getting dry air coming up behind it. So we're just talking here about a few more hours before this center makes landfall. And we can see that on the radar too. There's still some very heavy rain offshore south of Galveston, but that is going to be moving up over there in the next 3 hours. And by later on tonight, we would think you would see a situation there beginning to taper off quite a bit. The main impact of the storm we think is going to be rain, and there is where we think the heaviest rain area will be, southern Louisiana, and some substantial rains all the way up into the northern part of Louisiana. In the meantime, we're going to continue to see some high seas out there. We think around the east side, the seas will be up to 15, 18 feet, something of that nature. And then the storm surge moving into the coast, that's not going to be very much, something like 2 to 4 feet. So we'll continue to bring you frequent updates here. Again, it's a tropical storm. It's not a hurricane. Top wind 60 miles an hour, little or no strengthening expected. That's the tropics for this time. Now back to Janetta.
Thanks so much, John. We are watching another entity, and that is a front that started
a tropical storm just about 2 hours ago from the National Hurricane Center. We are watching it very, very closely, noticing the latest satellite picture, if we can show that to you again, the reds and the yellows showing you very deep convection, the satellite picture showing very deep convection, which shows that we have quite a bit of moisture coming in to the western Gulf of Mexico, including the upper coast of Texas and Louisiana. Now, tropical storm warnings have been issued. Also, we have a flood watch that has been issued for the upper coast of Texas. I'll tell you what, let's go to our tropical weather expert, Dr. Steve Lyons, for the very latest on Tropical Storm Allison. Dr. Lyons?
Well, thanks, Vivian. And we do have Allison, and it's approaching the coast fairly quickly, about 13 miles per hour, and it's not too far offshore. Let me show the latest statistics on it from the Hurricane Center as of 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. 28.3 north, 94.7 west. The bottom line is it's only about 80 miles south-southeast of Galveston, and it's actually a little closer than that now, moving at 13 miles per hour. Winds 60 miles per hour, and we think it's going to run out of room before it gets to the coast, so that we don't expect much strengthening beyond this. But we do have tropical storm warnings up from Sargent, Texas, all the way around to Morgan City, Louisiana. So anybody in that area, you can expect tropical storm force winds, and some of those winds could exceed 50 miles per hour, even upwards of 60 miles per hour. Now look at the visible satellite imagery here, and you can see the circulation center is basically tucked in this area right here, not too far from the greater Galveston area, moving pretty much northward. And at about 6 to 8 hours, that circulation center is going to be on shore. Most of the circulation is very asymmetric, with the strongest winds and the heaviest rain off to the east. So if you're down here in Corpus Christi, you're not going to see too much impact from this tropical cyclone. But nevertheless, it is a very potent system relative to rainfall. You can see here's the greater Galveston area out towards New Orleans to the east, also seeing some showers from it. Let's zoom in on that radar, and we can see the features very carefully here in Galveston. And along this area near the location of landfall in the next 6 to 8 hours, we can expect surge, water rise of about 2 to 4 feet, which is really not going to be too bad along most of the coastal areas. 2 feet is not too bad. 4 could cause some problems in some locations. But the inland rainfall is our biggest impact potential. So we'll be watching that rainfall over the next 12 hours and let you know what happens. There's quite a bit of rain behind the circulation center at landfall, so be prepared. Let's get back to the studio with Vivian now.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Lyons. Of course, we are watching Tropical Storm Allison, and you can clearly identify the storm here in the western Gulf with all of this rain coming into the upper coast of Texas and western Louisiana. Now, other than this batch of heavy rain, we have noticed the 2001 Atlantic hurricane season isn't even 1 week old, and we already have our first tropical storm. That pinwheeling blob of green is Tropical Storm Allison, and it's going to be a big rainmaker for places like Houston and Galveston, Texas, as well as Lake Charles, Louisiana. Hurricane expert Dr. Steve Lyons will join us with more.
The other big story tonight is severe weather. A severe thunderstorm watch has just been issued for parts of Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, and Indiana. In Indianapolis, you were included in this new watch. Hello and welcome to this edition of Weather Center. I'm Jeff Morrow.
And hello, I'm Vivian Brown. Now, the big cities over the Northeast are enjoying a very mild June day. Pretty nice there. But we begin today with Tropical Storm Allison, the first storm of the 2001 Atlantic hurricane season. Here is our latest colored enhanced satellite picture, which shows a lot of deep convection associated with this storm, and all of that deep convection and some of the heavy rain is moving onshore the upper coast of Texas and Louisiana. Latest reports out of Galveston, winds gusting up to 40 miles an hour and reports of heavy rain. Now, our latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center centers the storm at 28.3 degrees north, 94.7 degrees west, and that makes it 80 miles southeast of Galveston, so it is pretty close to the shoreline with winds of 60 miles an hour. It is moving north at 13, and the lowest estimated central pressure is 1,004 millibars. Tropical storm warnings have been issued from the central coast of Texas all the way to Louisiana. With more details on Tropical Storm Allison, let's go to our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. Dr. Lyons?
Well, thanks, Vivian. And yes, Allison has spun up very quickly, and the good news is that it's moving quickly to the coast so that it won't have much time over water to intensify. So we do not expect right now that it will reach hurricane intensity. Looking at this latest visible satellite imagery, the circulation center is still very ragged and ill-defined. The thing that we do know about it is it's a big rain producer out here, and most of the strong winds are on the eastern side. So if you're out down here in the central Texas coast and farther to the southeast, you're not going to get much impact not only from rain but from wind either. Now, as we look at the advisory information, you can see that it's moving at about 13 miles per hour and is only 80 miles from the coast at 2 p.m. It's closer than that now. So we expect landfall here not too long from now, within about 6 hours or so. And tropical storm warnings are up from Sargent, Texas to Morgan City. And notice that they don't extend very far to the west of the circulation. That's that asymmetry in the wind field I told you about. Some heavy rain coming onshore to the Houston and Galveston area right now, but there are a lot of rain bands out here that don't show up on the radar too well. They're going to impact the Beaumont area and off toward Lake Charles over the next 24 hours. The wind, currently 60 miles per hour, is not enough to really do much in the way of impact. That'll produce a storm surge of about 2 to 4 feet, depending on the location. The rainfall could be significant and problematic in some areas, producing some street flooding, although we don't expect it to be disastrous at this stage. Wave action, even though it's high, will be relatively low, and surge on the order of 2 to 4 feet is low as well. Now, our storm total precipitation since 8 a.m. this morning, you can see where it's coming in, basically from central Louisiana all the way around to the Houston-Galveston area, and that's going to continue to accumulate, and we can see our forecast of rainfall impact over the next 24 hours will be basically in that same area, and that impact could reach medium in intensity and then spread northward into central Louisiana. So we'll continue to update you on that as time goes by. Let's get back to the studio now with Vivian.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Lyons. The other area we're watching over the southeast is some scattered rain here over northern Mississippi and Alabama.